Incredible. And Nigeria eliminated. Back-to-back World Cups that will miss for the first time since 86 and 90. It really is incredible for Nigeria. It was a very difficult campaign for them, but all credit to DR Congo that now will have a chance to make their first World Cup as DR Congo as they advance to the Intercontinental playoff. But let's talk first about what did you see in this match? Nigeria obviously had a struggle throughout the entire campaign, and they fall just short.
Tempo was going to be super important today. We always talk about limiting mistakes in terms of with CAF because, you know, they're going to be physical games. They're super cagey, especially the nerves that's going into something like this. And looking at Nigeria's campaign, I want to start and say a lot of this they have to take responsibility for. And let's just be honest, it's the results against South Africa, Zimbabwe, Benin, Republic. You look back in terms of the campaign, they gave themselves a lot of work to do to find themselves. Even at this stage, they did really well. But then Victor Osimhen coming off and then so many other variables within the game. And you knew when you're playing the DR Congo side, what you're going to get is a team that's really well organised. They've done so well this year in terms of organisation. Twanzebe using his experience. Of course, Wan-Bissaka's a big name that we all well know. It was always going to be a cagey affair. Could Nigeria inject the tempo that was acquired, the little skill sets that were required in the final third? And I don't think they did enough to win the game. If we're looking at it as an overall perspective, the right team won, and I always say penalties and lotteries, they're a draw, right? It doesn't really matter who's going to be. It's going to be the luck on the day. And the gods are with DR Congo, and congratulations to them because it's an opportunity to represent themselves and what they haven't had an opportunity to do under their new name, their new country, and all their new regime. This is going to be a fantastic opportunity for them to connect. And obviously, then they've still got work to do.
Yes.
But the opportunity is there.
Now, to break this game down just a little bit more, let's bring in our African football correspondent, Mbizo Zamane. Mbizo, you just watched history, really, in that match. And let's talk first about Nigeria again. I want to get your thoughts on, it really was a representation. This match was a representation of really their entire campaign in this World Cup qualifying. What went wrong during this campaign for the Super Eagles?
Yeah, I think if you look at the body of work, I think the honest Nigerian fan, which probably is myself as well, as you can see, I'm commiserating with the Super Eagles. But I just don't think they did enough, and they left it too little too late. Obviously, there were a lot of coaching changes, and they really only found stability in Eric Schell towards the end. Victor Osimhen healthy, and he did his job. And quite frankly, these last couple of games, the entire Nigerian squad played well. But I did say on a number of occasions that you cannot underestimate the AFCON semi-finalists. As you guys have mentioned there, this is a team that is organized, they are strong, and emotionally and psychologically, they have the fortitude to take on nations with greater history, maybe even greater talent. And I think DRC was superb today in terms of at least the way that they shut down space, moved as a unit, shutting down space for the Nigerians. Victor Osimhen was quiet until he was pulled off. Lukman as well, Chukwueze, ineffectual. And so I think that the DRC deserves all the credit. And again, they were only runner-up in their group to Senegal, who are one of the best teams on the continent. So this is a team I think that's earned it, DRC. And today, certainly, most of the match on the balance of scales, I probably believe that they deserve to go through.
I want to talk about this element of history for themselves, Bizo, because we are talking about DRC, the new country, the new regime, the new name, an opportunity for them to put their own mark in terms of on the history books. What will it mean to their people if they can go even one step further?
Well, it'd actually be huge. I'd even go on to say that it would be something of a relief because Democratic Republic of Congo, at least for us Africans, is considered a talented nation. Despite their underachievement over the years, we do consider them among the best teams on the continent with lots of talent, huge population, and they often produce quality players. So for them, it will sort of kind of be like a feeling of finally, our performance has matched our potential. And again, the body of work that they've put together over the last 2 years, certainly over qualifying, it's demonstrated that they have the capacity to play at the highest level. And in their last AFCON, they only lost to the champions, the eventual champions, Ivory Coast. They were able to tie Morocco, who's a top team. So this is a squad that I think absolutely deserves to be here. And I think the Democratic Republic of Congo, the people will feel that finally the football team has delivered to us what we've always always deserved. A little bit of sunshine, a little bit of success. Even if they don't necessarily make it all the way to the big dance, I think just this little bit of hope will put the wind in the sails of these people who, at this current juncture in time, are also going through a lot of domestic turmoil. And so we know how football can breathe life into societies when teams are doing well, and hopefully that'll do the same for DRC.
Will the rest of the African continent be supporting DR Congo here in this intercontinental playoff? Because obviously it would be a historic occasion if they're able to qualify, they're able to get to the 2026 World Cup in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at this point in time, it's no longer about individual countries. We just want to see as many African teams at the big dance as possible. And I'm actually, on a personal level, very confident that whoever Democratic Republic of Congo will face, they will come in with their same structure, with their same discipline, with their same experience, and be able to get the job done. Certainly, if they play against whoever they do play against, if they play in the way that they played against the Super Eagles, which is a strong team, lots of individual talent, I think they'll be okay. So right now, all of us, we are all leopards, and we hope that DRC can get the business done.
Bizo, this is an opportunity for us to kind of express some of the culture of DRC, right? Because I know it. The hips, the music, the food.
Yeah,
trust me,
yeah.
they're going to be wanting to set the world alight and really show people as to who they are as people. So put people on game. Show them exactly in terms of the flavour that DRC are going to bring, hopefully, to this World Cup.
Well, yeah, as you know very well now, the waist shaking, you see, it's all in the hips, they say,
It's
right?
all in the hips.
And so, you know, DRC as a cultural component of the African fabric is extremely critical. They've had a number of very famous musicians, and their music is known well across the continent, South in particular, and West, Central. And so for us to see these people, who, by the way, are some of the largest exporters into the diaspora, our Congolese people are all over the place, including here in Sao Paulo. I might go down and have a caipirinha or two with them downtown. So, you know, it's just a beautiful thing for them. And I think that in every corner of the globe where you see our Congolese people, they're going to be celebrating nice and hard with the beautiful dances, the food, fufu as well. They have their own version. So I'm sure they can't wait to get down.
Save us a caipirinha, man. Come on. save one for us. Come on. On the other side, just we have to ask, because Nigeria, it's back-to-back World Cups now that they miss. They have too much talent, I think, to be missing World Cups back-to-back. Where do they go from here? What needs to change in the Nigerian Federation? Obviously, so many issues with the Federation. What needs to change for them to continue to go back to their success?
That's the first step. I think there need to be wholesale changes at the NFF. I think there needs to be professionalization. There needs to be standards. There needs to be accountability and transparency. People need to know how this association is being managed. Where is money going? Money that's coming from FIFA, money that's generated by the Federation. Can you please pay the players and stop making a fuss about things that should be simple? And then there needs to be, I think, a wholesale look at the structures within the domestic football of Nigeria, because right now, again, they're relying solely on players that play abroad, players that are naturalized, and of course, there's no problem with that. But if there aren't internal structures, a la, for example, South Africa and Morocco, who have demonstrated the importance of the entirety of the structure of your football, I think they're going to struggle quite a little bit. Eric Schell, for me, does seem to be the man for the job. They'll be rearing to go to gain some dignity back, I think, from AFCON. But long term, I think a lot of responsibility lies on the NFF to professionalize, to be transparent, and to begin to manage the football the way it needs to be managed. Nigeria has really got to where they've gotten basically by luck and just the production of pure talent nonstop, like a conveyor belt. But I think it can be much, much better, and NFF has a lot to do to work towards that. Whether or not they'll do that, I think not a lot of us are hopeful for that, but perhaps it's time for a little bit of football activism and sports activism to really get football minds in football places so that the future can be brighter.
Well said. It's going to be a long road back for Nigeria for sure. And Bizo Zamane, thank you for joining us here on Scoreline, my man.
Thank you much for having me, fellas.
The Intercontinental Playoff now. DR Congo on their way to that Inter-Confederation Playoff. 6 teams, 1 from the AFC, 1 from Africa, 2 from Concacaf, 1 from CONMEBOL, and 1 from Oceania. Teams are seated in 2 brackets based on their FIFA rankings. The top 2 FIFA-ranked teams get a bye into their path to the final. Unseeded teams play in that path semifinals. The winner of each final will qualify for the 2026 World Cup. All right.